The Toronto District School Board has just bowed to activist pressure and suspended the school resource officer program while it undergoes some sort of social justice litmus test from a bunch of people who quite likely don't even have kids in the Toronto District schools. In the interim, while the review is being conducted, the school resource officers will be removed entirely from the schools. The suspension was spearheaded by activist groups like, of course, Black Lives Matter and Education, Not Incarceration, who demand the program be ended in its entirety due to concerns over racial or anti-immigrant bias. The motion to suspend that was finally approved by the Toronto District School Board actually says that the presence of the school resource officers is potentially intimidating for the most marginalized students whose voices are essential to capture during the review process. Just to be clear, there have been no substantiated reports that children of color have been unfairly targeted by school resource officers. All of this is based on potential feelings that someone somewhere might experience someday but haven't experienced yet. Let me give you some history that the critics of this school resource officer program just don't want anyone to talk about. The School Resource Officer Program was formed as part of the Toronto Anti-Violence Intervention Strategy. The objective was to improve safety around schools and improve the perception of police amongst youth in marginalized communities, and then improve relationships between students and police officers. Back in 2008, the program was started with 30 officers assigned to 30 Toronto high schools. By 2010, there were 46 schools participating, and this year, the 2017-2018 school year, there are 75 schools participating. The program has more than doubled in 10 years, but that's because it's just been so darned effective. How do I know it's been effective? Well, it's been studied at least twice by the federal government and Public Safety Canada. Both studies showed positive results from the program, citing in particular that students were increasingly willing to report crime once they've interacted informally with the school resource officer. Both studies also showed that there was a decrease in weapons offenses in and around the schools. In short, the schools were safer. But all those studies and all those positive outcomes really don't mean anything to the activists and Black Lives Matter. They actually view the police as the enemy. I guess I would too if I was out and about rioting, blocking roads, and setting fires like BLM has been known to do. The BLM manifesto actually calls for the divestment of funding from police and jails. Anyone with a brain knows that that will only serve to make poor neighborhoods less safe and poorer schools more dangerous for kids who know the only way out of the cycle of poverty is to get an education. But that's hard for pampered liberal activists who live in hipster gentrified neighborhoods to get their heads around. Shame on the Toronto District School Board for valuing the feelings of 20-something useless people in BLM and other activist movements more than they value the safety of thousands of Toronto kids. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. At The Rebel, we tell the other side of the story liberal activists don't want you to know. And the internet censors, well, they want to shut us down. But if you believe in free speech, go to standwiththerebel.com.